Hello, welcome back to the daily email or videos, I should say, about keeping the conversation alive. Now, today, you always give it away and how life changes for good when you stand in your power. How cool does that sound? Now, you always give it away. Let me get rid of that a minute. You always give it away. What do you give away? Now that's putting, see if this relates to you. So this is all about low self-esteem, but maybe you don't understand what that is. So in relationships, or perhaps with friends, or perhaps in business, do you put others on a pedestal almost, and kind of have this relationship where you kind of always think they're better than you, they're more worthy, they're more knowledgeable, they're more interesting, they're more, who am I? You put yourself down, you put them on a pedestal. Can you relate to that? You put others first. Even the kids. You put the kids first, which kind of, as a parent, you naturally do. You die for your kids. Jump in front of a speeding bullet for your kids. Of course, it's not that I'm saying. I'm saying about you forsake yourself for your kids, which kind of doesn't demonstrate how to be. Demonstrating how to be submissive, how to be passive, how to be not worthy, how to have low self-esteem ultimately. So you forsake yourself for others, and put yourself down, thinking you're stupid, you're worthless, you're not good enough, there's something wrong with you, you're ugly, you're disgusting, you're hideous, you're just the most disgusting stuff you say to yourself that you'd never say to anybody else and you'd never verbalize. But actually, if you did, sometimes I do this with people, have their pretend this thing, and sort of, if I could plug this into your mind, just yeah, that stuff. I'd hear the most disgusting stuff that you would never say to anybody else. You'd never say to a friend. You'd never say to a kid, but you say to yourself. And the worst thing is that you don't realize you're saying it. You say it so often and you believe it. It just flows through you. It's a really established neural pathway in your brain. And that's the problem. That's why it's so difficult to spot. So we kind of say that this is your power. Your power is your self-esteem, your worth, your modus operandi. God, where did that come from? The mode of operating. And you always gave your power away to others. From something happened in childhood, and it's not like sometimes it is a trauma or traumatic thing. Sometimes the trauma is just everyday life. It was tough and it was difficult. There was a battlefield going on. Other times it was really subtle, and people think that they had a happy childhood, but actually when you look under the surface, there's these patterns of dominance and control, walking on eggshells, whatever it is, whatever the example is of your past, whatever the story is, it created some trauma within you where you decided as a child that there was something wrong with you in some respect, or that you're not good enough, or that you're not worthy, or I think you probably understand that. We understand that a lot more these days. But you don't notice that it's there and it's building and gaining momentum, becoming a very solid neural pathway in your brain, and it actually guides every part of you. It becomes like these blinkers in life, and it absolutely limits your life. But it's really difficult to notice that because it's there every day. That's where modus operandi. It's just your part of your programming, and part of that is that you always give your power away to others. Certainly for me, I used to give my power away in relationships. I was thinking about this earlier on. It was like, without going into it too much detail, I thought I was stupid. So I leaned on my sister a lot, and she was my big sister who was little, because she's tiny, and she kind of always looked after me, put that under her wing a little bit, very close in terms of age, a year and 9 days older, and I really loved, obviously, her, but loved that being looked after, and I think I repeated that in my relationships. I always wanted to be looked after, and kind of, because I felt like I wasn't whole on my own. I was useless. So I needed looking after. I needed that, I repeated those patterns. And what I did was give my power away. I never learned how to use my power. It somehow seemed, power to me somehow seemed, and maybe you can relate to this, somehow seemed like arrogance when I'd see it in others, or overconfidence, or if I was to kind of be like that, would be like selfish because I like giving. Can you relate to that? in relationships in the past, I've put my partners on pedestals. You know, can you relate to that? So that is giving away your power, and it's almost sort of giving away your responsibility for being you. I can even remember, one of my ex-wives. Oh, that sounds terrible. Um, but I think it's funny as well. So, getting really frustrated with me. It must have been so frustrating dealing with me because I wasn't taking responsibility for the finances or for decisions or for whatever it was. It's like, oh, because I was, carrying down and thinking I was useless. So to understand how to hold on to your power and how to be comfortable in your own skin, and skin, it is skin, because you are whole, you're complete, it's not separate, this power, and then fiddly sticks, it fell out of my, it's whole and within you, and it's there already. It's just we give it away. You've always given it away. You've never learnt how to harness your power and use it and be comfortable with it, and be comfortable in your own skin. That's such a cool thing. So to do that, like many other things, you can get coaching on this stuff. You can learn how to do that. Learn the distinctions between the modus operandi, which gives your power away, to actually going, hold on, what would it be like? What would it feel like? What would it sound like? What would I say to myself? What would I be doing differently to stand in my power? And what's the impact of that? I become responsible. I become able to make, you grow as a person. You make the decisions, you take the lead. You can still be the empath. You can still be, you can be all of the things you want to be, you can still be, but you just don't put others on a pedestal. Nobody should put me on a pedestal. But equally, nobody should put themselves above me. Nobody should put themselves below me. We're all equal. We all have different, unique skills and everything like that. We're all equal. Are we not? So it's easy sometimes when you meet certain people, or you put them on a pedestal. But I'm talking about that's understandable. Famous people or something like that. You go if you met them, somebody you admire a lot. It's different. What I'm talking about is relationships, and when this modus operandi, this mode of operating, this normality for you, that you'd put the significant other on a pedestal and bow down and give your power away. That's not right. That shouldn't happen, and that's what low self-esteem does to you, and it creates these blinkers in your life, and you're not being responsible for yourself. You're not being fully responsible. So to be responsible, to be in a balanced relationship, if you want a balanced relationship, you have to bring the balance up in your self-esteem. And to do that, you can get coaching on that. And that's what pathway coaching is all about. It's a year-long coaching program. And I've specialized in this because I've dragged myself through this process, and it's been bloody painful. And there hasn't been anything out there. I must dig out, and I'll do another video on watching Gabor Mate. He's and if you don't know him, go Google him. He's awesome. I felt so refreshed when he was saying, look, I've trained in psychology, I've trained as a physician, I've trained in all these things, and nothing in there makes this link between the childhood trauma and the physical health and the mental health issues that we see as adults. Nothing is making this connection. Nothing equips us or those professions to do this work that needs to be done. And I felt that was so refreshing, because that was my journey. It was like, this stuff isn't here. These interventions, these, all these different things that are existing, there's something missing. They don't connect and solve the real problem. And in fact, I've got one of these. If you want, go and check out my webinar, how to become the solution without avoiding the problem, because everybody avoids the problem. Looking at anxiety, pills don't work, depression pills don't work. Weight, there's something missing in the weight industry, is there not? It's the biggest scam out there. There's something missing, because that's the people aren't standing in their power. They're not responsible. So they can't be consistent. People failing in business because they give up at the first sign of failure. They can't stand it because they're not standing in the power. Anyway, I could go on. So check out the webinar if you want to find out more detail. Come and take the test. Come and take the test. See if you have low self-esteem. You're not standing in your power. You're giving your power away. To have a balanced relationship with yourself, you need to grow your self-esteem. So that's my invitation. Get the coaching on this. If that's you, if you know you have low self-esteem, get the coaching. Don't live your life with blinkers. It's awful. and it has an awful impact. And if you don't realize the impact, message me, message me. If you say, right, okay, I've got low self-esteem, but I'm fine. I'm fine. You might be, because your world is so blinkered that you might think you're fine. Whereas I could ask some questions and see how you feel about certain situations. So by all means, use me like that, message me. So get the coaching on this if you want to find about what the coaching is that I offer. And I went like that because it's a year-long program, but it's taken me a long time to develop this, because it doesn't exist out there. There's not an off-the-shelf solution that you buy and it works. This is a solution that I've built up, and it's failed a few times, and over the years I've refined it and refined it and refined it, and it's like, that was the missing bit, that was the missing bit, that's the bit that got me into the next bit, that's the bit that, and I've not given up. I've been tenacious, and I'm sure I'll continue to work on that. But for the moment, it's a good place to be. So come and find out about it. The way to do that is through the webinar. Take the test if you haven't taken the test already. Find out how this coaching program helps you raise the level of your self-esteem, so you're at a healthy level, so you can stand in your power. All right, many thanks. Lots of love. Comment, like, subscribe. Ask me any questions. All right, lots of love to you. Speak to you soon. Loves you, boyo. Bye-bye.